Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Today's episode is all about the house buying process timescale, so how long it takes to buy a property. So that's what I'm going to explain to you today. So I can't give you exact timescales because it's different for everyone, but the national average is about 12 weeks or 3 months. But certainly it very much depends on the property you're buying, the property chain, and circumstances, whether the process will take longer than 3 months. Me personally did see quicker completions than 3 months, but also certainly I saw much longer, so it could take as long as 6 months as well in some cases, but I did see completions which happened in a month and a half or 2 months as well. What will identify how long it might be? It's quite important that you ask questions from the estate agent when you are buying the property, because they should know why the seller is selling, obviously, whether they are buying elsewhere, where they are buying, what they are buying. Will that seller has to find somewhere else? So how long is the chain? Very, very important whether the seller is buying a new build. That's where I can see often delays. So it's really, really important that you gather as much information at the outset, so you won't be surprised if the process will take longer than 3 months. But generally speaking, it's really, really difficult to give you exact timescales at the outset. Now, what is the first step? So let me just explain the different major little stages of the house buying. Very first step should be that you get a agreement in principle or decision in principle. Why? Because that will give you the budget, that will identify how much you can borrow, and that way you will know what sort of price range of properties you can view. Also, you will know that you can borrow the money, your credit history is good, and there are banks out there who will potentially lend you the funds. It's really, really, really important. I would not advise you to view anything until you have this in your pocket, and also I would suggest you to get a broker for yourself and let them do the job for you. Why? Because again, it's very, very difficult, and I have a separate episode about this, about decision in principle and agreement in principle, and I already explained that as well. It's so important that you have that piece of paper with a bank who will actually lend you the money based on your circumstances, and also that all the figures are entered into the system accurately. A broker will know this, and the broker will do this accordingly for you, so you're not going to have a false result from your agreement in principle. Once you have the agreement in principle and decision in principle, that's when the viewing can start, which is really exciting. And how long it takes to find a property, it depends on the individual. Some people find property in a matter of a few days, matter of a few weeks. However, some people are viewing and waiting for the right one for months. So it's very, very personal. Don't rush into it. That's my advice. View a few properties, compare, view them maybe more than once if possible, and not just the property, but also check out the road, the area, especially if you are not very familiar with the area, just to make sure that you are 100% happy exactly what you expect and what you want to buy. Only then make an offer. Now, this is when you have to start thinking of getting a conveyancer for yourself. So hopefully you already have a broker now, because you have an agreement in principle, so you already have a relationship with a broker. And this is when you are ready to make an offer. You need to think about getting a conveyancer as well for yourself, because as soon as your offer is accepted, the estate agent will have to issue a memorandum of sale document, and that's where they need to note your conveyance's details as well, so the seller's conveyancer will know who to get in touch with. Now, making an offer, again, very individual. Sometimes you can negotiate, sometimes you cannot. It all depends on the market, depends on how many interest parties are, how long the property was on the market for. So sometimes you do have opportunity to negotiate, which is great, but also be mindful of the very low offers, just in case the seller is not going to accept a slightly higher offer from somewhere else. So always be very mindful, but certainly if you can negotiate, that can save you quite a bit of money. Now, congratulations, your offer accepted, which is a massive relief and great news for everyone. This is when we enter into the pre-contract stage. What pre-contract stage means is, number one, if you need a mortgage for the purchase, then you have to get your mortgage application to be submitted. Obviously, that's when you return to your broker, and the broker will sit down with you again, go through the recommendation, and then submit the application for you. How long it takes to get the mortgage offer, obviously that's another big tick in the box, very important. Depends. I had offers issued in a matter of a few days, but sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. It very much depends whether the lender works really fast, whether valuation needs to be physical, mortgage valuation has to be booked in or not, because some lenders just instruct, or not instruct, they carry out an automated desktop valuation that speed things up. And it depends how complex your case, depends how busy the bank is. So often we say, I often tell my clients, average 2 weeks to get your offer. But as I said, it can be quicker, sometimes it might be longer, depending on the circumstances. Now, once you have the mortgage offer, that's a big tick in the box, as I said, and at the same time your conveyancer will start working on drafting up the contracts. This can take anything from a week to 4 to 5 weeks. They have to be very thorough, very detailed, so it might take a few weeks. At the same time, they instruct searches, and survey is also recommended to be carried out by the seller, just to make sure that the property is acceptable. You won't have any issues with it. The structure is good enough, and no faults, no problems you will at a later stage you find, and you will regret the purchase. So it's advised to carry out a survey. In terms of the searches, so the searches will tell your conveyancer and you if there are any environmental risks, boundaries of the property, whether the seller legally can sell the property, whether there are any planned constructions nearby. So a lot of information for you and the conveyancer. Now, once everything is ready, so the search is carried out, survey didn't flag up any problems, you have a mortgage offer, that's when exchange of contracts could happen. So this is what normally at 12 weeks from offer accepted, and this is when you have to transfer your deposit to the conveyancer. This is when buildings insurance needs to be in place. Your conveyancer will remind you of that. And this is when the conveyancers will swap the signed contract. So this is now the agreement is legally binding. Then the next big stage, or the next stage, is completion. Between an exchange and completion, there might be only a few days, could be a few weeks. Sometimes even the two can happen the same day. So it very much again depends on the case and the purchase. Completion is obviously when you get the keys. That's the big step. This is when stamp duty is payable, so your conveyancer will remind you of that. Of course, this is when the solicitor will draw the funds from the lender and send over the funds to the seller's conveyancer. and your conveyancer, in terms of the stamp duty, will let you know how much it is, and they will arrange that for you. Also, your ownership will have to be registered at the land registry, and your conveyancer will again arrange this, and once the registration happens, that's when the new title deeds will be issued, and that will be sent over to your lender. So as you can see, it is a complex process. Quite a few parties are involved, and so it definitely cannot be carried out in a matter of a few days or weeks. Well, I wish you all the best and lots of luck with the property purchase, and please check out my other videos in my channel, as you find lots and lots of useful information there.